Hi, and welcome to Z Games. Recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios in Brisbane and broadcast nationally over the Community Radio Network, Z Games brings you the latest gaming news, reviews and interviews from across Australia and around the world.
Hello, welcome to Z Games, live on 4ZZZ 102.1 FM, or on Z Digital, or the Community Radio Network. I'm Evie, and I'm hosting with Ray tonight.
Hello.
How are you, Ray?
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah?
Yep.
And we also have Nick, who's our guest this evening.
Hello.
And Tom.
Yo, what's up?
So the preview of the show tonight, we're covering some E3 content and just doing some coverage of that. The guest tonight, Nick, he's from Free Space, so we'll be chatting to him a bit later. But first, some gaming news.
Yes. Not too much news this week because it's been dominated by E3 coverage, but we'll be getting through that later on the show. But Valve has announced that it will no longer police games being released through the Steam store, instead opting to allow all games apart from ones that contain illegal content or are, quote, straight-up trolling. The announcement comes a week after Active Shooter, a controversial game that simulated school shootings, was removed from Steam. The decision would allow games that were pornographic or offensive to appear on the world's leading store for digital PC games. A statement posted to the Steam blog said that games it allowed would not reflect the values of Valve, and that the decision to allow everything was in the interest of freedom of expression.
That doesn't seem too good.
You don't think it's good?
I don't know. I mean, on one hand, I'm like, yay, pornographic games, finally. I mean, come on, we're in the VR space. This is what people are getting VR for, right, Nick?
That's the biggest question I seem to get from a lot of people when they come into the arcade. It's like, yeah, what sort of pornographic games you got? It's like, none. I'm not putting up with the cleaning side of things, basically. There's just not enough money in the world for that. Maybe when I've got more staff or something, you know. That's more of a Japanese thing, I think, at the moment.
But on the flip side of the coin, letting through offensive games like Active Shooter just seems like it's inviting really ignorant articles in news sites and whatnot.
It's extremely offensive as well.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the obvious
not really
point that I was.
It's offensive, but I don't know. Is it responsible, I guess, is a good question as well. Because this is a game that simulates a school shooting. You can be either the shooter or the SWAT team. There are some that argue that, you know, these simulated things can have an effect on real-world behavior. Note that there has been no conclusive study that proves that violence in the real world is caused by video games, but it's definitely a concern of many.
Yeah, but it's also, I guess, sort of making a lot of... Because, you know, it's a big uproar in the States at the moment, a lot of what's been going on over there and across the globe. And then to make a game out of something that, you know, destroys lives is pretty... And then for it to be...
Well, I mean, we've been having war games since the beginning of time.
Sure, but this is probably a little bit more... We've had war games forever. This is very, very personal. This is involving, you know, children and simulating real-life scenarios.
So is war.
Well, I guess that's a true point. On that note, I guess we shouldn't really play any games related to war. All right, that's over.
I mean, like, there have been a lot of articles against Steam saying that this is a bad move, that it's sort of given up on responsibility, you know, just sort of handing in the monitor banner and saying, you know, we're not responsible for any of this. But I can't help but think that, you know, it could be a good thing that everything is allowed, and just allow the consumer to use their own value judgments to decide what to buy, because, I mean, we're all adults. Well, not all of us, but I guess there are a lot of children using the Steam store that shouldn't be exposed to
Maybe
it.
there should be some sort of filter, I suppose.
That argument fell down at the first hurdle.
Yeah.
We're all adults? No.
No, we're not all adults, yeah. Look, it's a difficult one. I'm not sure what the right decision is, but this is a very extreme policy change by Steam, and it's going to have a big effect on the world, I think, at least in video games.
I think I think we've been relying on corporations to be the moral police in our society for so long that it's kind of weird when one puts their hands up and says, "Nah, we're not gonna do that." and it means that we've got to find now a structure where we can be comfortable. Because I think, sure, there's freedom in anarchy, but perhaps there might be a better way to go about this, and maybe this is a step towards finding it.
Perhaps.
Does anyone feel like this is going to last right up until the first lawsuit comes along that they get pinged for? Someone tries to pin responsibility on them, they lose a couple of $1 million, and they'll go back to doing the policing the way they were before?
It's possible.
It depends on whether the cost of the lawsuits is greater than the cost of the wages of the employees that they're hiring to curate the material. Because I think that is actually the prime motivator here for them. Is that
they can talk about freedom of expression, but it's just a bottom line decision.
There are thousands of games that are released on Steam every year, and for someone to, or even a team of people that have to go through to monitor all that content, it seems unfeasible. There'd have to be a massive team working around the clock playing all the games. And so, I don't know, I think this is just like, we're hiding behind the value of freedom of expression, but really it's too expensive for us to monitor every single game. You're listening to Zed Games. I am Razor, and with me, Evie, who is doing announcer training and behind the desk tonight. Evie, you're doing a great job.
Thanks. Be gentle.
Also here is Tom.
Yeah.
The other guy.
I'm not doing announcer training. I'm just here for my witty one-liners. That's me.
Keep up the good work.
That was awesome.
Zing.
But introducing Nick Wallace for the first time. He's here on the Zed Games radio show. Nick, welcome.
Hello.
Nick is the owner of Free Space VR Arcade, a virtual reality arcade based right here in Fortitude Valley. It's very awesome. Nick, can you tell us about your arcade, man?
What to tell? I mean, so yeah, we're a virtual reality arcade. We're the first in Brisbane. A lot of people might be aware of zero latency. We're quite different to zero latency in the way that we do things. For those who have been, you sort of know that you go there, you play, 2 games sort of in the 45 minutes, and you sort of you select before you get in there which ones you want. We're more of an arcade sort of style, LAN cafe sort of style. So you come in, bring a couple of your friends, share out the station, and we've got about 20, 30 different games available to you. And throughout that session, you can swap between those games as much as you like. So, play something for 5-10 minutes, you don't like it, get a bit bored, jump out, find something else. So you're not so much locked in, and by doing that, we sort of try and have something for everyone as well.
Now, everyone in this room is very familiar with virtual reality and the technology behind it. We're all big followers, big nerds here.
Yep.
But for the listener who perhaps hasn't been keeping up with the latest tech in VR, exactly what can you do in virtual reality, and is the technology at the point where it's convincing yet?
Well, I'm finding with a lot of people it is very convincing. A lot of people, even those who have tried virtual reality, tried it about 4 or 5 years ago. There was a massive push by Oculus and HTC back then. You found them in all the shopping centres and all the exhibitions and things like that, conventions. They were out there getting people into the headsets. And they were great and they were fine, but the games and the experiences they had were very limited. You got people getting a lot of nausea back then because they had a lot of latency with the headsets.
Oh yeah, I get that.
You've tried that?
Yeah.
So that was a big problem, and people's mindsets are still back that 4 or 5 years ago. But things have come a long way since then. We very rarely get anyone with nausea at all when they come into the headsets. Yeah,
that's great.
The racing seats a little bit more because they're just a bit different, but our normal room scale stations, no problems at all. The games as well have come a long way. There's no real big AAA titles except for Fallout 4 and Skyrim at the moment. There's a lot of indie developers getting out there and just creating some really cool, interesting games. It's sort of, I tell people, when it comes to the VR industry, no one knows what they're doing. And that's not in a bad way. That's in a really good way. The book on the rules of what to do in VR hasn't been written, so people are writing it as they go. They're figuring out what works and what doesn't. And because of that, they're just trying things. We're sort of lucky in that regard that in the arcade, we've got a wide variety of games that people can jump into and try out. So it makes it quite interesting like that. So for people who haven't tried it before, we encourage them to come in, try it out, see it as it is now. If you've never tried it before, or if it's been a long time, you'll find that it's come a long way, and it's not what people are expecting. It's even better, generally.
Can you just rock up and have a go?
Yeah, absolutely. We do free 15-minute promotions because, once again, people are quite hesitant. They're sort of thinking of what it once was, or they've never tried it before. So yeah, we encourage people, come on in. We've got a free 15-minute promo. We'll show you how to use the equipment, how to interact with the virtual environment. And that's one of the biggest things for me is I want people when they come in to feel comfortable. I want them to jump in and be able to enjoy the games and really, get into it all. So
I wonder how people can feel comfortable because you were telling me before that there's a butt destroyer on your racing seats.
No, that was a butt kicker. That's
Butt
a little
kicker.
bit. That's a little bit different.
Tell me about the butt kicker.
Butt kicker, butt destroyer. Butt destroyer. I don't know what that attachment is. I'm not really going to delve into that one.
That's an optional upgrade.
It probably is. Yeah. It's something on the dark web you have to really go looking hard for.
Costs extra.
Yeah, that's it. Once again, not dealing with the cleaning up there. They got the racing seats as well. They got the butt kickers, the rumble packs on the bottom of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's another way of adding in some immersion to it. So when you feel the wheels, when you change gears, it'll react to that and gets that bit of extra immersion into there. In terms of the immersion, even the room scale stations, people jump in and Richie's Plank experience is the best example of immersion. People see it on the outside on the monitor. You get taken up in this elevator and there's a plank of wood coming out the side of a building 60 floors above the ground.
Oh my goodness.
And you see it on the outside and most people are like, no worries, that looks easy, I can do that. You put the headset in and get them in that elevator and the moment it opens up, nope, that's it, I'm done, I can't do it. A lot of people, it's a great way to show them that immersion straight up.
My partner and I have been looking for a VR place to go, and we did look at zero latency, but it was like more corporate sort of arranged.
Yeah.
And then these guys were telling me about you, and I was just like, yeah, and I was telling my partner, I was like, we got to do this, we got to check it out.
Yeah.
And I was like, be great, because she's terrified of heights, absolutely terrified of heights. So
that's evil, but I love it.
Yes. I was like, just some height stuff would be hilarious.
Don't tell her what it is then. We'll just put her into the headset. Like, you should come try this game. You'll love
no,
this.
she's probably listening at home right now. She knows it. She knows.
No, not Richie's. No, that's a completely different one.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What are some of the other popular games?
Richie's Plank Experience is one of our more popular ones. We've got a huge range of different games. Arizona Sunshine is definitely up the top right now. It's our zombie shooter, so you can play that by yourself. You can get a couple of friends together. There's a co-op campaign mode. There's a 4-player survival mode as well. Beat Saber is hands down the most popular VR game in the world. When you look at the stats, at any one time there are twice as many people playing Beat Saber as there are the number 2 game in the world. So that's how big it is.
Whoa.
And what it is it's Dance Dance Revolution and Guitar Hero mashed together with lightsabers in virtual reality.
That sounds amazing.
It
sounds like an
fantastic.
LSD trip.
Well, you don't really need to explain why it's so popular.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, once you do, if you think Dance Dance Revolution, this will be the next Dance Dance Revolution. That's what it's going to be like. And people challenging each other to beat their high scores. And So I mean, even we got bow and arrow archery games. Quiver's quite popular. That's got a good co-op mode where you've got a gate that you're defending, and you sort of defend that, and you move up to the next gate, and so on and so forth. And we've got more advanced games like Onward, which is a first-person shooter. People really quite like that because it's quite immersive. The guns aren't press a button and reload. You've got to do the reloading actions yourself.
Oh, wow.
You've got to grab the magazine, take it out, insert it, cock it back, shotgun shells one at a time sort of thing, machine guns feeding through ammo, etc. And just some really good mechanics like that make it feel quite real for people. Yeah.
Can you tell us about the facilities that you have set up there? Like how many headsets you have and things like that?
Yeah, so we've got the 5 room scale stations set up. So when I say room scale stations, they're what you'd expect of a typical sort of virtual reality. Like people think to themselves an open area, usually about 2.5 meters to 3 meters by 2.5 by 3 meters, and that's your area that you can move around in. They're the most popular ones. Then we've got a couple of the racing stations set up as well. And the racing stations are exactly what they sound like. They're set up with wheels, they're set up with pedals, they've got stick shift on them as well, and they're in virtual reality in nice, big, comfy racing bucket-style seats, and with the butt kickers, the rumblers that I mentioned before, attached to them. So, not the butt destroyers.
Not the butt destroyers.
That's awesome, man. So setting up a VR arcade, it doesn't sound easy. Where were you when you decided to to set this up?
Well, I
And why?
actually was thinking about just buying one for myself, about a year ago, a bit over a year ago, and I wasn't sure which one I wanted to get, the Oculus or the Vive, so I tried a small arcade in Sydney, and I thought this was really fun, and then I sort of came back to Brisbane and thought, I'm still not quite sure which one I want, so let's, have another try, and just realised there wasn't one open in Brisbane, and that sort of got the wheels turning. I kind of, wanted to have a break from the last job and do something different, and yeah, just sort of all evolved from there. Yeah.
Because you were telling me before we went on air that you used to be a pilot.
Yeah, that's right. So I was a pilot for the last 9 years. I was doing aerial survey for the last couple of years, and it was a lot of moving around the last few jobs, and yeah, sort of felt like, I said, a bit of a change and being in one place for a while, and now for something completely different, let's do a VR arcade.
Completely different.
Yeah, yeah,
Now you can virtually fly a plane.
That's it.
Do you have any flight simulators?
I do have a flight simulator game, and it is actually extremely realistic. Everything inside of it, every knob, dial, everything works inside the aircraft, and it's just like being back in training in a lot of the smaller aircraft. It's quite, I find that quite fun.
And you've got all different varying types of like aircrafts as well.
Yeah, there's a few different types in there. You can jump into I think we've got an F-18 jet in there, Hornet fighter jet,
nice.
or all the way down to a Cessna 172, which is a little single-engine four-seater.
One.
Yeah, little bug smashers we call them. Yeah. So yeah, there's a bit of everything there. That's the that one's a bit more advanced, and it's not something I generally chuck people into. So it takes a bit more, You've actually.
I'll just say to my partner, it's just the airplane one. It's very, it's fine.
It's sedate. It's flying. It's easy. You can train a monkey to do it. It's the landing. That's the hard part.
And then she's on a plank.
You sure you want to stay together? You chuck her on the plank, chuck her into a plane.
It's friendly torture. It's all right.
Nick, it's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You can go along to the Free Space VR Arcade, which is located here in the Valley, 295 St. Paul's Terrace. Mm-hmm. Is there somewhere on the internet we can go to check it out or make a booking? Yeah,
so head to freespacevr.com.au. We've got a list of all our games and experiences on there. You can book online, or if you want to get in contact and anyone has any more questions about it, then you can go through there. If you want to do the 15-minute promo, then drop on by or give me a call, and we'll make it happen.
You're listening to Z Games. Yes, Z Games, the organised radio show coming at you live on 4ZZZ 102.1 FM. E3, the Electronics Entertainment Expo, is in Midway in Los Angeles. This long-running convention is pretty much the ground zero for tech news and game news and announcements. Mm-hmm. So all the big companies, Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, and the big publishers use it as an excuse to get together, have a huge party, and drop all of the news about what's happening with their games that they're working on and any news that's coming up over the next year or two.
And tease games from 5 years out.
That's right.
Just to annoy us.
Yes.
Oh my god, that looks so good!
That is a recurring thing, that we're shown stuff that doesn't happen for many, many years. Some games have been like on the bench for a long, long time.
Yeah. Some games were better staying on the bench, in fact, having actually come out now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is
like the idea of you.
This is my first year following E3.
Oh, welcome.
And I didn't know there was a thing about, everyone coming together and showing off their stuff. Mm. I'm very impressed, and it looks awesome. The whole expo looks incredible.
Oh, that's great.
I'm wrapped. I want to go to LA now to see this.
As a jaded, I think I've been following for 8 years now, maybe.
Okay, you're a veteran. You're over it.
Veteran. I miss your excitement and enthusiasm, and I say that in the most condescending way possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely a jaded, slightly jaded, grizzled veteran as well. And yes, it is very flashy, and there's a lot of tricks, and there's a lot of stagecraft and big fanfare, and they want to make you excited. They have circus animals sometimes. They'll parade elephants around.
Well, I just felt my really big self just shrink very slowly.
Yeah.
Oh, guys!
You're so excited, and we just killed that.
Just pop my bubble.
That's great. It's very valuable to have your point of view,
shiny.
Evie. But basically what we've been doing is following all of the coverage. We've done it all.
We're going to distill the very best bits, the things that we're most excited about.
Absolutely. There's far too much information coming through for us to convey in a 20-minute radio segment. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pick a couple of things that excited us and tell you guys about it. So Tom, jaded, grizzled veteran.
I am going on with that theme. In previous years, all I've wanted from E3 were new IPs. That's, you see the sequels and whatever else, and you're like, just give me something new. This year, like, I'm over it. Like, there's these flashy new IPs come up, and I've been burnt so many times that I'm like, just give me the sequels that I wanna see. So, every game that I'm excited about here is a sequel. Super Mario Party, Beyond Good and Evil 2, Halo Infinite, Gears 5, Battlefield 5. Bring on the sequels. They're the franchises I know and love. But I think let's start with Super Mario Party, because this is a game that ruined friendships for me when I was young. The N64 version ruined my palm. I don't know if you guys understand that reference, but you used to have to. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
You'd get blisters on your palm because the mini games required you to do like these. Anyway, the trailer for this just looked so exciting. Whole bunch of mini games and stuff. For me, the franchise has gone off course a bit in previous years, but I think the Switch will probably revitalize it. Hopefully, make it a bit more interesting.
So it's coming out on the Switch, did you say?
Yeah. This is going to be a Nintendo exclusive, I imagine. But it's some. I'm very excited about it. I know you're excited about this game too, Ray.
Mario Party? Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
Nothing more to add. Very good. All right, let's move on. I was also very excited to see the Microsoft exclusive Halo and Gears.
So Halo Infinite and Gears of War 5?
Gears of War 5. Gears of War 4, for those of you keeping track at home, sucked. It was terrible. I reviewed it on the show, panned it. And I'm just hoping that
it's a comeback.
The trailer for 5 looked really interesting, so maybe they're gonna rescue this franchise. Oh God, I hope. But
Halo Infinite?
Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I'm pumped for that.
There's a trailer for it that's an in-engine trailer, which is basically just them showing off, hey, this is how good our tech is. Nothing to do with the game. And I was watching this, and I'm like, this is fantastic. My Xbox isn't going to run it. That's the graphic fidelity that's coming out of that. Nah, mate.
But that's why I'm excited, because it said PC.
I know,
and yes.
And for me, it's like, all right. So what's the point in my Xbox anymore? I mean, they don't have. Microsoft did announce that they've purchased 5 new studios to make exclusive games for them, which is great. But all of those games are going to be on PC. Why would I hamstring myself with an Xbox when I could just buy a really nice PC, play all the same games, and
retain its monetary value and use for a lot longer as well?
Yeah,
because
totally.
consoles get dated, especially with the Xboxes, because that's just how the nature of things with those consoles.
Yeah, and I mean. I understand. I think there's still a market for that. The casual gamers, so to speak, the guys who aren't interested in forking out maybe a bit more money on their PC. But there's Microsoft have just entirely lost me this E3, or Xbox has at least. Did you get any of that feeling, Evie? Because you've been an Xbox gamer.
Yeah, I've been an Xbox gamer. Pretty much, that was my own first and only console that my parents would allow me to have, and I was obsessed with Halo. Halo was the thing that I went to Xbox for, and then I got the 360 because I wanted to play Halo 3, which came out in 360.
Yeah.
And I've just been following that Halo franchise since 2003, I think, when the first game came out. It's been a long time now. And I haven't got an Xbox One because I went, I don't have the money for this right now.
Yeah.
And Xbox 360 is still pretty good, and I mostly play with friends, and cooperative's always really, really fun with Halo. And then I've been tossing up between an Xbox One and a PlayStation, the new PlayStation 4, and I went, no, because PlayStation 4 is going to have Spider-Man. It's going to have
Last of Us 2.
Yeah, the remastering Spyro.
Yeah.
And they're bringing back some of the classics. And I went, no, I've got to get the PlayStation 4. And then just as I was watching E3 with the recap on Halo Infinite, they said, Xbox One and PC. And I went, well, there's no point. There's no point. I've been sold on the PlayStation now because I've already got a PC. I've got a PC that I need to run it.
When this gen of consoles came out, I mean, I was flipping between the two of them, and the only reason I went with Xbox was for Halo. But if it's on PC, great. This is a good excuse for me to finally upgrade my PC.
Xbox gonna
and
it's just straight down.
See you later, buddy. You're going in the trash.
And I know that a lot of people went after Xbox because of Halo.
Yeah.
And especially,
it's
I guess, my age range, 20 to 25, we all lived on that. We loved Halo. It was a revolutionary game.
Oh, yeah.
It was massive. And now that they're opening up the platform that you can play it on, like I know you can play the original, I think, Halo 1 and 2 on PC.
Yeah.
But you can't play 3, 4, or 5.
Right.
So now you've got the latest one coming out, and it's going to be on Xbox is redundant.
Interesting point of view from two Xbox fans.
Yeah.
Xbox fans. Okay. That is interesting. Moving back on to the topic of E3, one of the games that I am very much looking forward to that's due for release this year in September, that Evie, you mentioned earlier, Spider-Man. They showed us a good 7 minutes of gameplay footage at E3, and boy, it looks fantastic.
I missed that. How did I miss that?
So it's from the same developers who brought us Sunset Overdrive, which was a kind of quasi-superhero-based game for the Xbox One. That's still very good. But yeah, for me, Spider-Man is probably the hero that deserves the best video game. Because of his web swinging mechanics,
Yeah, it's looking really, really good.
That's a good enough reason to put all this energy into the Spider-Man game. This looks fantastic. It looks to take the fluid, graceful combat from the Batman Arkham series, but just gives him to Spider-Man. So he's backflipping like a maniac. He's swinging out webs. He's jumping off walls. He's doing crazy roundhouse kicks. But then you've got this open world New York to explore. And the web swinging mechanics just look unbelievable. Like, he just launches himself so quickly through the air. You can swing onto buildings. And looks like they've got an interesting storyline with all of the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery villains sort of reimagined, because this is a standalone universe, so it's not connected to the movies or to any comic book series in particular. It's just like these guys take on Spider-Man as a whole from the ground up. So I don't know, it looks fantastic. I can't wait until September.
I'm so pumped for that. I'm also pumped for Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes.
That looks awesome. It looks so glossy. Mainly I'm just enjoying it right now because the costumes look great.
So this is the one from CD Projekt Red, the guys who do the Witcher franchise. And I've heard that it's basically just The Witcher in a cyberpunk setting, which I thought was a criticism, but you guys are totally on board with that.
That's the selling point, bro. Yeah.
Looks great.
Yeah, so
looks amazing.
Witcher 3, most definitely the best open world RPG ever created, and there's a strong argument for the best game ever created.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
Big time.
Yeah, I'm saying it. I mean, I'm not alone in that opinion. Just go on the internet and read any article about The Witcher 3.
Any article ever.
Yeah, I mean,
I was reading an article about Trump, and it's like, oh, by the way, The Witcher, greatest RPG of all time.
But yeah, that's enough of a reason to get super excited about this. So they're leaving the Witcher universe behind. This game, set in the year 2077, 2077, and everyone's got like a pink or green mohawk with some sort of cybernetic visual implant or robotic arm or a robot mouth in one case.
It's also set in a city that's like the worst city to live in.
Yeah.
In the year 2077. So it's sort of like it's got this grungy. It does definitely have that punk vibe. Like you definitely pick up on that vibe. It looks quite graphic. It looks very polished. It's like with The Witcher. It's like, you know, because the creators of The Witcher are creating this. I'm expecting like a very similar gameplay style and also like more modern, like a modernized, I guess.
Yeah,
creation
absolutely.
Of that. Yeah.
The trailer that we saw didn't show any gameplay. It was more of a world building thing where we sort of saw snapshots of the storyline, snapshots of the location. But what we do know of the game is it will be a first person game with the RPG elements. So I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it. There's a cool car in it as well.
Yeah, I was just about to say there's a cool car.
And some sort of racing thing. I don't know what your character is. He seems to be some sort of runner for contraband or something like that. But yeah,
possibly
I'm on board.
Some underground sort of underground violence style.
CD Projekt Red does Mirror's Edge.
What? Another trailer that I was intrigued by. Not sure if I'm 100% on board with it. It was at the PlayStation exclusive event, and that was for Death Stranding, which is Hideo Kojima's upcoming project. Hideo Kojima is, of course, the questionable genius behind the Metal Gear Solid franchise, a franchise that combined espionage, war tactics with weird supernatural X-Men. To varying degrees of success.
This is a game that has been hinted at for the last 3 or 4 years at E3. Did we find out anything more about it, or are we just as confused as we've always been?
I think we're just as confused, but we did find more about it. So there was a trailer a couple of years ago that just showed like a guy, Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead, the guy with the crossbow.
Yeah, turning into a baby and dying.
Clutching a baby with black sludge everywhere, and that was all we saw. This time we see that he's some kind of courier in a bleak post-apocalyptic style world, and he's carrying a backpack that is like hilariously large. We're talking about, about half a car's worth of luggage just strapped to his back. And he's going around these very precarious mountains and across small bridges and walking around. And then all of a sudden, he's being freaked out by ghosts. And like he's being haunted by these black hands that are everywhere. And he's got a ghost friend that's helping her out, and she's really, really sexy for some reason. But then he pulls out his weapon, which is to be used against the spirits, and it's a newborn baby inside a little cryogenic container that he keeps strapped to his belt.
Yeah.
In yellow goo.
I carry one of them around.
Yeah.
Me too now.
So that was suitably strange.
Yeah.
But that's sort of par for the course for Hideo Kojima, who it might be insane, might be a genius, or he might be an insane person with funding. Either way, one to look out for.
Person with funding. I just thought of active shooter again.
I'm actually, speaking of trailers, I really enjoyed the trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2, because I never played Beyond Good and Evil, but this trailer, which was really just sort of a cinematic, was so visceral that I would say if you're going to check out any trailers, have a look at that one. If you like space. I like space.
Space.
Yeah. Did you have any trailers you particularly liked, Evie?
From E3?
Yeah. Were there any that you were like, oh my god?
Well, Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
And, Cyberpunk 2077. Those were the two that I just was
okay.
like, ugh. And maybe the 10 seconds of Elder Scrolls 6.
Okay.
10 seconds? Like 5 seconds.
That was definitely a crowd pleaser. Basically, at the very end of the Bethesda section, they showed a video that just had the Elder Scrolls 6 on a title card against a generic open world fantasy backdrop, and the crowd just went nuts because well, this is the first we've ever heard of the fact that it's being in development. I think everyone knew that it's in development, but now that it's confirmed, I guess it's exciting. The Elder Scrolls is a pretty big deal, and yeah,
it's one of those things though. I mean, if you're going to tease a game like that we all know was coming out, I want it to be coming out this year. I want you to be like, oh,
Maybe they'll do a surprise, bam, drop.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I was thinking more a surprise date drop or something, where they're like, it's a few months away.
a date drop would be nice. But realistically, I think that if they had anything to show, they would have. And I mean, I wouldn't get your hopes up for the Elder Scrolls 6 in the near future. I would be like,
From memory,
2021
was like advertised for 3 years before it came out.
Oh,
so.
Skyrim was amazing.
So says everyone.
Yeah.
Boring. Nah, not a fan of Elder Scrolls, to be honest. But I'm glad you like those words on the screen.
Oh,
There
they're
we go.
great. Well, it must be lonely over there, bro.
Begin the segment with condescension. End it with condescension.
Jaded.
How's life in the anti-Elder Scrolls world?
Anti-open world. I'm not
Anti-open
even
world.
down for Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
You guys can.
Okay. You know what? That's
Oh my
Give me
goodness.
my linear on the rails shooters, and I'm
Where's the
happy.
button to put the glass up?
Look. I mean, not everyone likes open world games, clearly, but for me, that's what gaming is all about. So
I love open world
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
You don't feel pressured
and
to do
everyone.
anything.
But, yeah, because you feel pressured to do everything. It's like,
You're-
hey, I'm just going to be.
you're a
nagged.
completionist, aren't you, Tom?
I am.
You like
well,
to get.
that explains
I
why.
think that's why,
100%
because
it's Skyrim.
you just look at this long. You what did you
Long-
say? You 100% is Skyrim.
Yeah. It's just a laundry list of crap to do and branching side quests.
That must have been a really sad, sorry, painful
I
300
really-
hours of your life, Tom, considering you don't like open world games.
Yeah. No, I did enjoy the first 200 hours, but after that, it was a slog. But I did it.
Interesting.
I completioned it.
I think that's the last open world game I 100%ed, but anyway.
Well, there were very many
Scrolls.
more announcements of varying degrees of excitement, but
Wait. Did you guys see Skull and Bones?
no.
So it's Ubisoft doing a pirate thing, and the trailer for it was about these dudes who like, hey, we're going to be pirates, and they're all mates, and then they all become their own captains, and then they start fighting each other, and they're like, yeah, we're the biggest, like, we're the kings of the sea, we're going to destroy each other, and then, like, out of the smoke, this big black ship comes along, and they're like, oh no, we better band together, and I was just like, yeah, pirates! So it
How did that
kind
go?
of,
Sorry, I missed that.
it totally looked like a more realistic version of Sea of Thieves, and I don't know if we need it, but I was excited anyway. So
Yeah, look, I think the market for pirate games is large enough to sustain more.
that's
Yeah.
People like pirates,
Hell yeah.
as
yeah.
you just so eloquently displayed.
Okay, the last game I want to talk about is Fallout 76. That's
They skipped a few numbers.
it's a shared open world game. It's a multiplayer Fallout game. It's always online. We don't know too much about it, but it looks to be like an MMO-like Fallout game set in the post-apocalyptic wasteland of
but it's
Virginia.
a prequel to the others, right? Or set before the other games.
Possibly,
I read anyway.
yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, look, I'm not 100% sure about that.
Do you guys like open worlds? Do you like other people in your open worlds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was expecting a bit more discussion than that.
Well, because in the real world, there's lots of other people here that I can't just kick out when I want. Oh, well, I'd like to, but there are people that I like being here too. It's the same. It's the same mentality I have with playing video games. It's like I would love my friends to be here. We can band together and take on pirates, for example.
Yeah, but then some troll comes in and like sinks your pirate ship, and you're like, oh god.
Oh, well, that's true.
But then you can sink someone else's pirate ship and laugh.
But then you grind and grind
I don't
and
play
grind.
well with others.
Yeah, I can see that. Look, Fallout 76. The one thing that caught my eye when watching the trailer is the fact that it's a lot more colorful. The other Fallout games that we've seen have been in brown, depressing, bleak, flat, kind of dirty wastelands, and just like, big piles of brown stuff. This looks to be, because it's a prequel or something, the world hasn't gone to hell yet, and it's a bit more colorful. That's always something I like about my open worlds. Like, if I'm going to be in an open world for 50 and 100 hours, yeah, it's good for the mental health to be in a
color,
to have more than just brown and greys.
Have some color.
Yeah. The area of Fallout 76 will be apparently 4 times larger than that in Fallout 4, which was itself a large area.
Huge.
So I mean that's pretty crazy.
That's insane.
That's. I mean, for me, I'm entirely overwhelmed by that. That's too much.
Too much. Too big.
Make it 4 times smaller,
Yeah.
please.
Thumbs down. Too big. But yeah, heaps of stuff on E3 on the internet right now. That's some of our choice picks. If you have any thoughts, head to our Facebook, ZGamesAU on Facebook, and just let us know what you're excited about. And I think that's going to bring us to about the end of the show, right, Evie?
Yeah, I believe so. Well, I hope you've had fun, Tom.
I've had so much fun. Thanks, guys.
All right.
It's always fun.
You've
That's
had
cool.
fun too.
You're
listener.
jaded, but it's all right.
I'm totally.
Very cool. All right, catch you guys next week.
Bye.